Today, I am going to talk about our laundry room, which also doubles as our half bath. Had a shower where this washer is, and where the dryer is, there was like a stack unit. And then the toilet was in the same spot, and there was a little sink cabinet. The ceiling has all new drywall. These little lights are mason jars, just something we did on the cheap. You don't have a lot of headroom when you stand up on top of the platform in front of the toilet. This room was maroon red, same color as our kitchen. When we took off the drywall out of this room, this wall right here had a door in the wall. Part of me wishes that we wouldn't have covered it. I wish that we would have left it open. Not really for an accessible door, but I just think that as a conversation piece, to have this old closed up door on the wall would have been really neat. So this doorway was originally bricked in, and you would have accessed it from the back porch. This decal that's on the door is from Amazon, if you're interested. The door is cedar. I actually paid $40 for it, and then we had to do a little bit of modifying it. We actually have an old doorknob that's a reproduction that we're going to put here. This trim is not original at all. This is new trim. We put it on here. So we're going to extend the woodwork out and make it wider. In the 60s, there was a family that owned this house. They had like a freezer out here, and they used to put their meat in it. They were farmers. The only thing that is original to this room at this point is the trim around the window. I don't really know what this room looked like originally. Those owners passed away, and their children took on the house, and then they sold it to an older man. I feel like he cut a lot of corners. He's the one that piled a lot of trash in the backyard and things. And then they lived in this house for a while and then moved into town, because when this house came up for sale, this house had to sell, and they owed a lot of money on the house that was in town. So that house had to bring a certain price. After he moved out of this house, I'm not sure what year that happened, but this house went through a very long period of renters. We had a housewarming party, and our realtor came through and said, oh, that you couldn't believe how much work we had done in such a short amount of time and how different it looked. It looks completely different than it did since our whole housewarming. He had said, well, we ripped up the carpet, and laid new carpet. And he said, I'm glad that you did that, because you wouldn't have wanted to keep the carpet that was on your floor if you would have seen it before they cleaned it up. Because apparently one of the renters, prior to them listing the house for sale, she had a lot of dogs in the house, and I have 2 dogs, so I know how messy pets can be. But they said it was very gross, and that there were 2 dumpsters full of trash that came out of this house on the floor. Behind the sink, between the wall and the sink cabinet, there was like 15 toothbrushes. You can't set this cabinet directly against the trim because it's built out here, if you can see. So we have this little cubby hole back here, and we did that so nothing would fall down between the wall again. But I was like, what happened? Did people drop their toothbrush, and instead of doing something about it, they just kept dropping their toothbrushes down there? It was really gross when we took the cabinet out. So that's just a fun fact. All the windows in the house were replaced prior to us buying the house. Went the day of the auction, and this bathroom plumbing had busted and was pouring water significantly into the basement. So before we ever bid on the house, we knew that there was an issue with the plumbing in this bathroom. They had let the heat, this house is heated with heating oil, and if you know anything about that, you obviously have to check your tank and make sure that it's not running low. And since no one was living in the house, they let the heating oil run completely out, and the pipes busted. Which then, after we bid on the house sat for about 30 days before we were able to take possession, and the rest of the plumbing upstairs busted also. So tons of the plumbing had to be replaced in this house. This room had no heat. I talked in my last video about how we have this blocked in wall right here. This is just built next to our fridge, and it has heating duct and electric and things running up to the second floor, but it also has a heat vent next to the washer. What's nice about the heat duct is it's also piping in heat below this boxed-in section on the floor. And we kind of reconfigured the step up area. All the plumbing's in this boxed-in section on the floor, and there's also lots of insulation. As for the way that the floor was originally configured, the step into the room started about right here, and you would have stepped up and then you would have been level with the shower. And then instead of the door opening back into the room like it does now, it opened out into the kitchen, which just seems really, really odd. So when we rebuilt the floor, we've rebuilt it like this so that the door can be opened up into the room, and then the step is towards the back so that you're not stepping up multiple times. The baseboard in this room is also new. It matches the same trim that's in the kitchen. This back wall we decided to do some accent wood on, and it was stained. I had like distressed it and kind of made it different. It was like a gray stain, and then I ended up painting it like a solid gray after we lived here for a while. This little built-in section behind, we just recently did. My husband just like mocked up something with some wood, and I didn't like that you could see some of the dryer vents. There's an outlet that's actually behind this. The washer and dryer plugged in back there. It's not a permanent thing. You can remove it if you need to access any of that. I just feel like I wanted a ledge to put my stuff on, and it makes the bathroom look a lot more cleaner. So this little pump that's over here, we actually found in our basement. It says the Sanitary Pump Co. from Dayton, Ohio. We are in Ohio here, Central Ohio though. And we just thought it was cool, and I think it's just like, I don't know what it's for. We have a really big boiler in our basement, so I think it's something to do with that. This little jar has just like some old buttons that I've picked up different places. The little barn is from the fall collection 2019 from Target. The little washboard is a Columbus Washboard Co. It's just, I don't know where I picked it up. I want to say a yard sale. The little cotton sign is a reclaimed piece of wood that I found in our backyard. All of our buildings that were originally here are all gone, and they have randomly burnt pieces, and I pulled this out of dirt. The top of it looks a little like it's been on fire. I thought it'd be cool stenciled in our bathroom. The little shelf, I'm not exactly sure where it's from. I've had it a really long time. It's been like 3 different colors. The little pan that's on top of it that's like silver is, I think, a loaf pan. It's vintage. It has nothing in it. I want to get some like fake succulents and have them like drape out of it. I think would be cool. The little truck is it was green, and I got it from Target, and I repainted it black. And then the little barn I got from, if you're from Ohio, or not from Ohio, maybe you have been there. It's from Backwoods Fest. There was a vendor there that made these little reclaimed barns that I thought was cool. The little W is a little vintage block. The thing next to the block is little rocks that are heart-shaped. I just randomly pick up heart-shaped rocks when I'm camping and things. The little star I picked up from Country Living Fair in Columbus. The little candle is from Kirkland's. The little buffalo plaid sign is from Target also. The little spindle that's up here is a chippy one I picked up for like $2. The buffalo plaid banner is also from Target, and the little sign that says Winter Vibes is also from Target. I'm not sure where the W is from. There's actually 2 W's in here. I apparently don't know what our last name is. There's a W, and then this little iron. It's also from Ohio, Ravenna, Ohio, and I love it because it says the A.G. Williams, and our last name's Williams. So I love that. Then the little window is just a window I picked up somewhere. I think that the wreath is from Aldi, and the little tray I think is from Walmart. I got it a couple years ago, and it had actually like printed paper in it, and then over time it looked really bad, so I ended up removing the paper. And then the little jar, it's just a vintage ball jar, and it has old clothespins in it. And then the lid I actually found in our backyard. We had a extensive amount of trash that had been on fire and things that I think was in this house when the owner before us bought it, and he, I think, thought it was a good idea to take all of that stuff and just throw it in the backyard and then pile dirt over it. And we recently dug all of that out. And then the planter is just an old urn, and it has fake plants in it because I can't keep anything alive. This little mirror is from Walmart. It was black when I got it. I wanted something that looked vintage, and my mirror upstairs is vintage, and I wanted something that was sort of like it. This is our bathroom cabinet. I don't remember where it was from, but it's not my favorite. I think if we do this bathroom over a little bit, there's some things I would do differently now. When I talk about our bathroom and things that we remodeled, we were under a extreme time restraint when we were working on our house. We did everything that we possibly could in 5 months, and that was it was a process. I feel like we didn't necessarily cut corners, but there's things that I wish we could go back and do differently. This little door is from my husband's grandparents. It was a door underneath their staircase, and we are actually in the process of selling that house right now, and I couldn't bear to sell the house with it, so I took it. It was just something I wanted to have from their house, and I love this little door. Its doorknobs are cool. The back of it is just like an unpainted kind of barn door, but had this little closet, like this little access underneath there. And then this basket I picked up from a wholesale place. Real touch tulips from Amazon. They're actually really cheap. You get, I think, about 20 for like $9 maybe. That sounds kind of correct to me. Really, for this bathroom, we are pretty close to just being done. I like to say we're done, but we're never actually done. But I'm very happy with our bathroom down here, laundry room, whatever you want to call it. And really the only thing that I have plans to do is, if you can see around right here, there's no trim around this doorway. And I think it looks unfinished. So we want to do the same thing to the outside of the door, to the inside. I will see you guys in my next video. We'll probably be moving on to the dining room. So I'll see you then, and thanks for coming along.